В западных элитах очень сильное желание заморозить существующее положение, несправедливое положение вещей в международных делах. Они привыкли столетиями набивать брюхо человеческой плотью, а карманы деньгами. Но они должны понять, что бал вампиров заканчивается.
This is my video update on this Sunday afternoon, February the 1st, coming to you from Athens, Greece. Let's talk about some news. And let's start things off with the Epstein files, and let's talk about some of the geopolitical discussions in the Epstein documents that were released the other day. Epstein and one of his associates, let's call him that, one of his associates, they discussed regime-changing Russian President Vladimir Putin in 2012. This is 2 years before the Maidan coup. And this associate of Epstein, who from what I understand, worked for or was associated with the Gates Melinda Foundation, and Epstein, according to Grok AI and to other sources, Epstein wanted to make this guy the executor of his $578 million will, but he refused. He refused to be the executor of that. But anyway, there's this email communication, and they're talking about regime-changing Russian President Vladimir Putin. Now, just because they're talking about this in an email doesn't mean that they actually went through with this or that they did anything about it. But we have the email, and it's an interesting read. And they even talk about the person who they believe can replace Russian President Vladimir Putin. Once again, this is in 2012. The subject is actually Davos, forward Davos. That's the subject of this email. And it says, "We should go soon to Russia, and you should meet my friend Ilya Ponomarev. He is a member of the Duma, and he and Alyona, his very smart and cute girlfriend, are the main organizer of the uprising against Putin. He represents Novosibirsk region and lives in Moscow. It should be lives. It's spelled Leaves in this email. Lives in Moscow. I am afraid what will happen to him. The stakes are huge. He might replace Putin and become a president by himself. He will sooner or later, if he does not killed before." Very poorly written email. It is super dangerous. Any idea how to help him? Not with Davos, but with the other stuff in general. What other stuff? He is super smart and one of the most connected people in Russia. Please do not forward this email. So they're talking about regime changing Putin. They're talking about this guy Ilya being a suitable president of Russia, a replacement for Putin, someone who, according to this email, is involved in organizing uprisings against Putin. This is what this email claims. It talks about Davos, and it talks about using the other stuff, whatever that means. Now, this This guy Ilya was in the Duma, a representative in the Duma. He no longer is a representative in the Russian Duma. He actually fled to Ukraine. I believe he is in Kiev, and he is working with the Zelensky regime in this conflict against Russia. So he is on the side now of Ukraine and the Zelensky regime. This is the guy that Epstein and his associate were thinking of as a replacement to the Russian president. So what this shows us, in my opinion, is that they did not like Putin, Epstein and his friends. This is 2012, 2 years before the Maidan. Less than 10 years before the special military operation, well before the special military operation, and they're talking about removing the Russian president. Epstein and his associate, they did not like Russian President Vladimir Putin. You could say that the collective West, globalist elite, did not like Russian President Vladimir Putin. And they still do not like Russian President Vladimir Putin. So you could say that Putin is not a part of this globalist club, this globalist elite club. He is despised by these globalist elites. To this day, he is despised. And even Epstein was discussing, or at least someone was discussing with Epstein, a trip to Russia so that they could see about removing the Russian president. It's good for Putin. It's very good for Putin. What else can you say? He's despised by all of these guys. Not part of the club. That's how it looks if you go off of these emails. Very, very good for Putin. Now we understand why they hate him so much, why they hate Putin so much, why they continue to want to regime change Putin so much. That's what this email tells me. But once again, it's one email, one communication. But I think it's pretty revealing. That's my opinion. And then after the Maidan coup in 2014, Epstein is in communication with another one of his associates, and they talk about Ukraine. And in an email, the associate of Epstein says that he misses the talks with Epstein. And he says that they should get together, or they should talk, and on the agenda should be Ukraine. The email actually says, let's discuss Ukraine. Hi, Jeff. Very long day, sitting on bank board, and beers are okay, but not satisfactory to me, and putting them under pressure to be more innovative about asset management funds while restructuring. I'm in a dinner with a client, fed up. I miss our talks and hope you're well. We'll be at home tomorrow night. Will you be free? And let's discuss Ukraine. And Epstein's reply is, Ukraine upheaval should provide many opportunities. Many. An email sent 18th of March 2014 after the Maidan coup. Ukraine upheaval should provide many opportunities, many. And I think all of us understand what Epstein means when he talks about the many opportunities from the upheaval, from the chaos, from the disaster that was Maidan. I think we all understand what opportunities he is alluding to. So that's the discussion with Ukraine. And then in 2019, it looks like Epstein made a trip to Kiev. Now, 2019, February 2019, was the time that there were elections, and the Green Goblin was in place to become the next president, right? I believe that is the time frame. But what we have here is an email from Epstein to Epstein, which is basically it appears to be a reservation, a booking to stay at the Hyatt Regency Kiev, February 8th, 2019. So just because we have this email reservation, that's how it looks, doesn't mean Epstein actually went on the trip. Maybe he didn't go, maybe he canceled. Maybe he did go. Maybe he did show up in Kiev in 2019. But there you have it. 2012, regime change Putin. 2014, opportunities post-Maidan. Many opportunities post-Maidan. 2019, a possible trip to Kiev to stay at the Hyatt at the time of elections and the rise of the Green Goblin. So that is the update there. That is the geopolitical discussions focused on Ukraine and Russia from Epstein and his various associates. Very powerful associates. So we do have what I believe is the first resignation from a politician who was named in the Epstein documents that were released. And this is a bit of a surprise, but the first resignation is not coming from the United States or the UK or anything like that. The first resignation is actually coming from Slovakia, Fico's administration, and it is the Slovak National Security Advisor who stepped down after his name appeared in the newly released documents linked to Epstein. Miroslav Lajcak. He stepped down and he said he was named in the files, and he said it was all part of diplomacy, but the heat from opposition and coalition partners is too strong to ignore. Slovakia advisor Lajcak resigns amid Epstein revelation. Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico's national security advisor stepped down after his name appeared in newly released documents linked to Epstein. So that's the first resignation from these newly released documents. Trump actually talked about the Epstein documents. I believe this is Trump's first statement about the documents that were released the other day, and he was on Air Force One. I think he was about to attend the premiere of Melania's documentary, or he was coming back from attending the premiere of Melania's documentary. He's dressed in the tuxedo. And he was asked about the Epstein files, and Trump said, not only does it absolve me, it's the opposite of what people were hoping. You know, the radical left. Wolf, who's a third-rate writer, was conspiring with Jeffrey Epstein to hurt me politically or otherwise, and that came through loud and clear. So we'll probably sue Wolf on that. Maybe the Epstein estate, I guess, I don't know. But we'll certainly sue Wolf. That was Trump's response to reporters when he was asked about the latest Epstein document release. He's going to sue people, the Epstein estate, this author Wolf. I think you guys know. Did that pigeon just brush my face? I think so. I don't know. We caught it on camera. I don't know. I felt something. I don't know. Maybe. All right. Let's see. Yeah, the author, I think is who he's referencing, this Wolf guy, who has made various claims about Trump and Epstein and the connections between all of them. Anyway, that was Trump's response to the question on Epstein. He feels like the documents absolve him of everything that people are alleging with Trump and Epstein. What a beautiful church. So Keir Starmer was asked about Prince Andrew. He's no longer a prince, I believe. His name now is Andrew of, I forgot, Mountain Ham or Brokeback Mountain or something. I don't know. Mountain View. He has some new name or new title, but he's no longer Prince Andrew. But Starmer was asked about Andrew and whether he should go to the United States and testify to Congress about Epstein. And Keir Starmer said, yeah, he should. That was Keir Starmer's answer. He should go to the United States and he should testify to Congress about Epstein. So Keir Starmer kind of throwing Andrew under the bus. 008, Keir Starmer. There was a meeting in Florida yesterday between Dmitriev, Witkoff, Kushner, Josh, the new guy Josh, and Scott Bessent. That's an interesting one, huh? Scott Bessent was in attendance at the meeting that took place in Florida. Today we have the talks in Abu Dhabi, which are resuming, but Witkoff and Kushner are not going to be at these talks. So they did say there will be, most likely there will be U.S. representatives at these talks between Russia, Ukraine, and the United States. There are some reports which claim that because of the possible military action in Iran, that the talks in Abu Dhabi may be canceled today or may be moved to a different location. I haven't seen any news about a cancellation yet, but it is a possibility. But they had a good talk, according to Dmitriev, Witkoff, Kushner, Josh, and Bessent in Florida. Dmitriev posted on X, constructive meeting with the U.S. peacemaking delegation, productive discussion, also on U.S.-Russia economic working group. And Witkoff posted on X, today in Florida, the Russian special envoy, Kirill Dmitriev, held productive and constructive meetings as part of the U.S. mediation effort towards advancing a peaceful resolution of the Ukrainian conflict. The American delegation included Special Envoy Witkoff, Secretary of Treasury Bessent, Jared Kushner, the White House Senior Advisor Josh Grunbaum. We are encouraged by the meeting that Russia is working toward securing peace in Ukraine and is grateful for POTUS's critical leadership in seeking a durable and lasting peace. So a positive spin from both sides, from both the U.S. and Russia. And Trump was asked about Iran when actually this was during a Fox News interview, not on Air Force One, and Trump was asked about what's happening with Iran, and he said that there are talks taking place, back-channel communication, diplomacy that is taking place between the United States and Iran. And Trump said that he's hopeful that some sort of a deal can be worked out. But he said if no deal can be worked out, well, then we will see what's going to happen. By the way, Trump was asked about whether he's discussed his strike plans, his military options with allies in the region, very close allies in the region. And Trump claims that he has not discussed anything with regards to a possible military operation against Iran. Trump said, well, we can't tell them the plan. If I told them the plan, it would be almost as bad as telling you the plan. It could be worse, actually, Trump said. But look, the plan is that Iran is talking to us, and we'll see if we can do something. Otherwise, we'll see what happens. It's the same exact playbook from Venezuela, the same exact rhetoric and statements from Trump that he made with Venezuela, he's making about Iran. We're talking, we might have a deal, possibly we'll have a deal. But if we don't have a deal, well, I'm not going to say what's going to happen. I'm not going to tell you my plans. He said the same exact thing with Venezuela before he went in and kidnapped Maduro. The same exact statements from Trump. So anyway, that's what he said about Iran. He also talked about Venezuela, and he said that U.S. oil companies are on their way to Venezuela because Delcy Rodriguez, she signed a new law opening up Venezuela's energy to foreign investment. Rodriguez signed the reform of the organic hydrocarbons law with the view of incentivizing private and foreign investment in the country's decrypted energy sector. Earlier in the day, Rodriguez held a phone conversation with Trump. So she spoke to Trump, then she signed this law, which opens up Venezuela to foreign investment. And then Trump announced that U.S. Oil companies will be traveling to Venezuela to see about taking the oil, right? About investing and taking the oil. Trump was also asked about Greenland, and he said that he announced that talks with Greenland are beginning. So he confirmed that. I talked about this 2-3 days ago, that most likely we're going to get talks between the United States, Greenland, and Denmark. And Trump has now confirmed that these talks are indeed taking place or will begin. And he says that he expects a good deal. He hopes for a good deal. And he said that Europe and the United States are aligned in Greenland, in their Greenland policy. So anyway, that's the statement from Trump. And before we get to our clown world, we have an article from the NYT with the title, "Over Creamy Chicken, Europe's Leaders Try to Reduce Dependence on Trump." Creamy chicken. Over creamy chicken, according to the New York Times. They were having a very nice dinner in Brussels, eating their creamy chicken. Creamy chicken's good. I like it. I like that creamy chicken. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to this channel. And creamy chicken sounds pretty good right about now. Anyway, getting hungry. So the European leaders, after the whole Greenland thing wrapped up, they were so freaked out with Greenland and Trump's statements about Greenland and everything that they had gone through. Very traumatized, the Europeans in this theatrics, in this theater. They're very traumatized at Trump's statements about Greenland. The poor Europeans. I thought we were friends. I thought we were buddies, America. I thought we were best friends. But nope. Trump turned on them. And so they had a dinner in Brussels. They ate their creamy chicken, and they discussed their plan as to how to deal with the U.S. president. And according to sources sources with the New York Times, sources familiar with the matter, They told the New York Times that the plan that the Europeans came up with is threefold. It's a threefold plan. Part one is to remain calm. That's part one. Remain calm. Don't let Trump get to you. That is part one of the plan. You got that, Kaya Callis? Remain calm, Ursula, calm. And part two of the plan was to have the retaliatory tariffs locked and loaded, ready to go, just in case Trump flips out again and starts talking about going after Europe, talks about taking Greenland. Then you got to have those retaliatory tariffs ready to fire. And part three of the plan is to not be dependent on the United States, not economically dependent on the United States, and not militarily dependent on the United States. So the EU needs to diversify from the United States, and we're already seeing some of that by cutting off Russian gas and being even more dependent on the United States when it comes to energy. So they're already diversifying from the United States by becoming more dependent on the United States when it comes to energy, and they're trying to build the EU military so that they're not dependent on the United States when it comes to defense. So that's the plan from the brainiacs in Brussels, the very smart people in Brussels that run Europe. So that's the article from the New York Times. Let's do a clown world, and we can wrap this video up. And this is a good clown world. This is a great clown world. When I first saw this story, I thought it was from 2022, 2023, but nope. This article was published just the other day, courtesy of the UK Telegraph. Yeah, I thought this was from March 2022. Nope. It was published January 30th. And the title of this article from the Telegraph is "Desperate Putin is coming to the end of the road. The Kremlin criminal is running out of men to use as cannon fodder." He's coming to the end of the road. So now we've come to the end of the road. Poor Putin coming to the end of the road. Doesn't Epstein remind you of the character in the Rolling Stones' Sympathy for the Devil? I was thinking about that this morning. I even posted it on X. I posted the first lines of that song, Sympathy for the Devil. "Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. I've been around for a long, long year. Stole many a man's soul and faith." He really does remind me. Everything that's going on with Epstein reminds me of that song. You know, Epstein kind of appears everywhere, doesn't he? And wherever he goes, you have all kinds of chaos and horrible things happening. Anyway, I just referenced Boyz II Men. I just referenced the Rolling Stones. "Pleased to meet you. Hope you guess my name." What's the next line? "But what's puzzling you is the nature of my game." I think that's the next line. So anyway, let's get back to the clown world. Putin, poor Putin, he's in tatters, according to the Telegraph. Tatters. Telegraph is funny. I like the Telegraph. It's almost better than The Onion or the Babylon Bee. It's really funny, the Telegraph. Oh boy. So let's see. Desperate Putin is coming to the end of the road. The Kremlin criminal. Let's see the first two paragraphs. First two paragraphs go like this. "As Vladimir Putin theatrically announces a 1-week pause in attacking civilian targets in Ukraine and is duly rewarded with misplaced praise from President Trump, we should be under no illusion. Putin is offering to stop his war crimes for just 7 days. This is not the gesture of a confident commander. It is the maneuver of a leader whose army is close to breaking. That's the first paragraph. And from the first paragraph, you understand that the Telegraph has no idea what the hell is going on. They have no idea what's going on with the truce. Zero idea. It wasn't Russia that asked for the truce. It wasn't Putin that asked for the truce. Even Trump himself says in a statement, I asked for the truce. I made a call to Putin. I requested a 1-week energy truce. Even Trump says it in his statement. Trump makes the statement that he's the one that requested the truce, and Putin was generous enough to agree to it. This is the statement that Trump made, but they make it out as if Putin requested the truce. So right there, from the first paragraph, the Telegraph is lying. Why would the Telegraph lie? Why, Telegraph, are you lying? Why? I trusted you for so many years. All the good people of Great Britain, all the people of the UK believed in you, Telegraph. They trusted you. You were their #1 news source. And now you're lying to us. Why? Why, Telegraph? You broke my heart. Fredo, you broke my heart. Telegraph, you broke my heart. I can't believe you're lying like that, Telegraph. Oh, boy. Now where am I going to get my news from? I can't trust the Telegraph. Who can I trust? Yeah, so they're lying right there from the first paragraph, and that's without a doubt. Without a doubt, they are misrepresenting the energy truce. And then the second paragraph says, oh boy, the second paragraph is a Monty Python, a Holy Grail movie. The Russian armed forces are in a state of profound decay. Reports now confirm that wounded convicts, many missing limbs, are being forced back to the front line to fill critical manpower gaps. Some have not even been provided prosthetics and are expected to return to combat on crutches. This is not resilience, it is desperation. So the Telegraph wants us to believe that Putin is sending, because he's out of military, right, out of soldiers, that he's sending the soldiers back to the front line on crutches, without limbs. That's what he wants us to believe. The Telegraph, that's what they want us to believe. Boy, all right. It's a clown world. UK media is a clown world. And that is the video, everybody, theduran.locals.com. We are on X. We are on Telegram, not on Telegraph. We are on Telegram. And we are also on Rumble. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch. 26% off everything in the Duran shop. And I will see everybody tomorrow. Also check us out on, whoa, I almost slipped. Also check us out on Substack. It was raining a lot this morning, so it's a bit slippery. Anyway, the link to Substack is in the description box down below. Take care.